Hello everyone, welcome to another Transformers review, and as you can see this time I'm doing G1 grapple. Very similar mould to the Inferno figure, but obviously difference is obviously colour as well. Because he's a crane, he's more in a construction vehicle colour, whereas Inferno was obviously in red, being a fire engine, and obviously being a fire engine he didn't have the crane jib that Grapple's got. Quite a nice vehicle mode, as was Inferno. I'll bring it in so you can have a closer look. Quite nice detailing all the way round. Nice touches of chrome in sort of different places there. Main problem you get chrome wear is on this figure is the hook. Obviously all parts are sort of prone to it, but the hook is the main issue with this figure. You see a lot of these with a broken hook. Well, obviously kids have been trying to use the hook for lifting things and grabbing things and that, and they get snapped off. But even my one's got a little bit of chrome wear, and obviously I used to play with him quite carefully. Even like chrome front grille and that as well. Like I say, as in with Inferno, really nice sort of moulding, nice details. Also to note with both Inferno and Grapple, this rear section here with the wheels is cast metal, which is painted. Can suffer with paint chipping. This one's not too bad, but obviously that's another thing you'd have to look out for if you're ever picking one up. As to accessories, he came with a left and right fist with a black blaster, which I already got in that hand, and the sort of usual rockets that came for the G1, both Inferno and Grapple, both the same, and the same with the hands and that. Not to be confused with the G2 versions of these, which rather than having the catch on the fist where they go into the sprung loaded sort of like missile firing fists, the G2s were plain and didn't have that notch. And also you'd have got a G2 logo inside the cab. What you can do when obviously in vehicle mode, you can obviously lift up the jib. It did have this sort of dummy piston which hangs off, which obviously you can sort of sit in those sort of positions, but it doesn't do a lot when you actually lift it up. I'll show you it lower down so it's in camera, but it does extend out to that, so when you're further back obviously you could hoist things up, and the hook obviously moves around to suit. So it's quite nice. It's a bit of a departure from the other Autobot cars, because a lot of them obviously were just vehicle cars rather than, as in Inferno, a fire engine, and Grapple being something bigger, a truck, because obviously the only real other main trucks at that period were Optimus Prime. I suppose if you class Hoist and, well, I'm trying to think of the other, Trailbreaker, were obviously sort of 4x4s. But these were a little bit meatier, a little bit bigger. Came in the same sort of size boxes and that, but you did get a little bit more of a toy for your figure, more figure for your money, sorry. To transform him, you unpeg these parts out the side, which are pegged into a little pin there, a little hole on the inside. Swing them out like so. So they're swung out to the side on like a double hinge. You then release the crane section at the bottom here, and that's on like a double hinging bar, and we'll leave that out for a minute, because what you do is you turn the whole back section down so it's in line with the cab. It's a little bit messy at the minute, but I'll get there in a sec. So it's like so, and then turn the rear sections, which are, as I say, these are the cast metal sections, and that forms his feet. And then all you've got to do is turn these sides down and they become his arms. Now for the back section, you turn the crane part right the way round and clip the piston in to the back. It pays to fold the hook up out of the way just to protect it a little bit. And then this section in front flips, I'll get it the right way, flips forwards to reveal his head. You can see that. And then that clips, as you try and get that into shot for you, that clips under there. That sort of double hinges at the back on the black part, and it hinges in to the roof of the cab. And you just need to be a little bit forceful with it. And it just lines up with a little peg what's inside. That's it. You hear a click and you know you're there. I'll just lift the camera up a little bit because Hoist is a little bit of a taller figure. As I say, you got a lot more for your money in those days for some of the G1 figures. Really nice detailing, good sticker detailing all round on the figure. Obviously nice Autobot sticker, and of course you've got the obligatory rub sign on the top there, which is admittedly a little bit crooked, but then he's over 20 years old, he's allowed to be a bit wonky in places. As I say, these figures were different from the G2s in that they've got the sprung loaded parts here, and you just slot it in. With a bit of luck it catches, that's it, and stays in. Now for most of the cartoon he did come with like the rocket, which was more of a nozzle. I suppose in Grapple's version was more for spraying concrete, things like that, and you could put that in like so, and if you're lucky it catches. There you go. Obviously that's interchangeable with the fist, which is exactly the same as that side, but I do actually prefer him with the actual rocket in place because I think it's a bit more cartoon accurate for what he used to do during the cartoons. Nice figure, sort of nicely detailed, as I say. Well worth picking up if you can get one cheap. I'd definitely recommend this one. They look great together with Art and Inferno and Grapple side by side. Like I say, the only real issues to look for is the chrome wear on the obvious parts, and obviously because the cast bits are his feet, obviously kids sort of like clumping him along, sort of like, you know, like if he's walking, would invariably chip these parts. And as you can see, if I bring that in, you do get a little bit on the edges even if you're really careful, but obviously the more harder it's been treated, the worse that's going to be. Other things to look for are tyre wear, but actually this one's really good. It hasn't suffered from the degradation in the rubber that a lot of G1s suffer with. Other than that, I would say pretty faultless sort of figure. As in, oh, there goes his fist, touched the wrong part there. As with Inferno, it's a great G1 head sculpt, same head sculpt as Inferno, which is a little bit of a shame they didn't do a slight difference with him, but then I suppose he's supposed to almost be like a brother figure to Inferno. But as I say, well worth picking up, and one I'd highly recommend for any G1 collector. Hope you've enjoyed this little review, and I will see you again for another Transformers review.